All right, so over the past 4 years, President Obama, in order to push through his radical agenda, has flat out lied to you, the American people. Here are a few examples to help prove our point. Watch this.
If you choose change, you will have a nominee who doesn't take a dime from Washington lobbyists, doesn't take a dime from Washington PACs. And when I am president, their days of setting the agenda in Washington will be over. Today, I'm pledging to cut the deficit we inherited by half by the end of my first term in office.
Guantanamo will be closed no later than 1 year from now.
Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this presidency.
Oh, the long list of lies does not stop there. With the second term comes a brand new set of unkept promises, and they're already starting to pile up. Remember when our fearless leader, for example, said this.
No family making less than $250,000 a year will see any form of tax increase.
Nothing in this plan will require you or your employer to change the coverage of the doctor you have.
We've been extraordinarily careful not to in any way undermine the employer-based system.
And that's why my proposal builds on the current system, where most Americans get their health insurance from their employer. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan.
Now, guess what? Well, he couldn't keep those promises either. Middle-class taxes have already gone up, and so they'll continue to do so thanks to the administration. And when it comes to Obamacare, the CBO projects that by 2022, 7 million Americans will not be able to keep their employer insurance program thanks to Obamacare. And joining me with reaction, syndicated columnist, best-selling author Michelle Malkin, Fox News political analyst Juan Williams. Let's see, Juan, we have one article in Investors Business Daily today that the cheapest plan by 2016 is going to be $20,000, and that the CBO says 7 million Americans are going to lose their health insurance. What happened? Should I be upset over this, or should we just accept that promises aren't fulfilled here?
Well, I don't understand how it's any promise broken. I think everybody knows the Affordable Health Care Act is going to be implemented in stages, Sean, and these things, just like Social Security when it started, Medicare when it started, Medicaid, they all have some difficulty in their startups. What the CBO was saying was not everybody's going to sign up right away, and so some cases you're going to have situations where there's a lack of coverage or there's an increase in cost of coverage. That's why there's an individual mandate, but it just takes time for that to be put in full place, and that's why it's done over several years.
All right, Michelle, there seems to be one good excuse after another, all broken promises, unfulfilled. Why do I expect the media, if it was George Bush, we might have a different reaction?
Because double standards are the reality in Washington, and they have been for a long time. And, of course, all the obfuscation and excuses were added to right there in the 30 seconds that Juan Williams just spoke. He can't understand why you're pointing to all of these lies from the lying liar-in-chief about how he sold Americans a bill of goods on Obamacare. Could you spell it out any clearer in all of those sound bites? The comparison between what he promised and what people are getting, the reality of even big labor organizations that lobbied most aggressively for Obamacare now balking and wanting out of it because their rank-and-file members are realizing that they're going to pay a hell of a lot more than they paid before Obamacare came along. That is assuming if they still have their plans, because, of course, many of these union chapters, and this is an untold story, have been dropping their plans or deteriorating a lot of the benefits that they had before Obamacare. As for all of the rest of the litany of lies and promises that he made that have been broken, all you have to do is go on Twitter every day and hear from all of these young people who are discovering that their paychecks are getting smaller and shrinking as a result of the payroll tax hikes that were embraced by this president, and the long litany of taxes that are still yet to hit people in the pocketbooks. Yeah, that's the reality, and I guess outside of the Beltway bubble, people are feeling it.
You know, Juan, if you remember, they made a big deal, the president did, to say that this would be under $900 billion. The recent estimates now have gone up to $2.8 trillion, a lot more than what they estimated. The cheapest plan they're saying now is going to cost $20,000, family plan, by 2016. And the House report that came out said Obamacare compliance will take a staggering 127 million man-hours. Do you not see any problems in this at all? You not see that this is problem?
I think you're. I mean, you're looking. The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
No,
Obama is bad. But I'm just telling you. In fact, what the CBO has shown is that the rate of increase in terms of health care spending in the country has gone down for the last 2 years. That's good news, Sean, and I think that's part of this process of putting in the Affordable Health Care Act.
Well, hello, reality check. I may not be a real journalist like you, Juan, but I'm not a Pollyanna either. And out here in the real world, the effects of Obamacare, including the medical device tax that is cutting R&D and causing layoffs across the country in the most innovative firms, the fact that so many people who were intending to go into medicine are no longer going into medicine. Thank you, brain drain, a big consequence now of Obamacare, and the fact that so many small businesses, doctors who were individual practitioners, are either bailing and retiring altogether or going into concierge care. Have you heard that term? Do you know the trends now of people who are shutting down their practices as they used to be constituted, dropping insurance altogether, where now only the wealthiest can pay for care? Congratulations, Obamacare. Heck of a job.
Let me just ask you to calm down a second and just think about what's going on here. This system, this healthcare system that the Affordable Health Care Act is trying to fix, is something that took a long time to break. You remember that under President Bush, we had the Prescription Drug Act, the Part D, not funded. That's what contributed to the strain that we see right now on Medicare.
And it also contributed to the downfall of the Republican Party. I oppose that, Juan.
Okay. I'm just saying, you want to give the whole picture to the listeners here, and that's part of the story, Michelle. And if you try to fix a system that's badly broken, that's driving big business to deficits, it's going to take some time. There are going to be some slip-ups.
I think we ought to say it's
They're fixing nothing. They're destroying it.
Care Act. All right, guys, good to see you both. Thanks for being with us.